Ever look around your industry and think, wow, a lot of us are just singing different verses of the exact same slightly off key song? If your business feels like it's stuck in a sea of sameness, then offering beige solutions in a beige world, then this episode is for you. This is your wake-up call, because boring isn't just a vibe, it's a business death sentence.
Hey there, welcome to the Sunday Spark, where we ditch those Sunday scaries and ignite some serious inspiration before the work week. I'm Faye Chappell, your semi-sassy guide and the founder of the Regeneration Company, and I'm here to help you crush burnout, brainstorm big ideas, and remember that success should actually feel good. So grab your coffee, strap in, and let's spark some insight.
All right, welcome to Sunday Spark, where we poke the bear of conventional business wisdom. I'm Faye Chappell, and I'm your guide. We are here today tackling a big one. Your competitors are boring, so don't be. How everyday innovation separates market leaders from the Me Too crowd. Now, when I say innovation, if your mind immediately jumps to multi-million-dollar R&D labs and guys in turtlenecks launching rockets, take a breath. We're talking about everyday innovation, the kind that any business, any solopreneur, any professional can absolutely and must cultivate to stand out, to solve real problems, and frankly, not become irrelevant. So let's talk about busting that myth of innovation and making sure that we understand it's not some mystical gift that's only bestowed on just a few. No. We're going to unpack why so many businesses get stuck in this is how we've always done it rut, right? And that's really about fear and laziness, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to serve up practical, no-fluff ways to generate fresh ideas, foster a culture of creative problem solving, even if you think you have no creative bone in your body. And we're going to explore how it's daring to be different, even in small ways. You can become your most powerful competitive edge. So let's go. Let's talk about our entrepreneurs, that quirky coffee shop versus that beige bean water. Okay, so think about the last memorable small business experience you had. And I bet it wasn't memorable because they did everything the same as everyone else, just maybe slightly cheaper, right? So consider these two hypothetical coffee shops. The beige bean water Inc., right? That's just serves decent coffee and standard pastries and has Wi-Fi, and it's fine. And it's utterly forgettable. And then there's that quirky Quill Cafe. They also serve great coffee, but maybe they have a surprise poetry slip with every latte, or they host a bad art night once a month, or the baristas are trained to remember regular names and their dogs' names of all their customers. Their loyalty program might involve customers writing a 6-word story on a napkin for a discount, or anything you can think of. These aren't massive, costly innovations. They're small, creative differentiators that build personality. They build connection and word of mouth buzz. So, I worked with a solopreneur consultant who felt her services were getting lost in that crowded market, right? So everyone offered strategic planning, right? So we brainstormed and we said, what's your unique process or your delivery? And she started offering strategy sprints. They were visually engaging, right? They were adventure maps. They were deliverable instead of a 50-page Word document. And it became this core expertise. And she repackaged everything with this creative flair. So her closing rate really, really improved because it was different, right? So the key takeaways for game-changing entrepreneurs, if you're one of them, is, innovation is often in the margins. It's not always about reinventing the wheel. I want you to look at your customer experience, your delivery method, your communication style, your internal process. Where can you inject that little unexpected value, personality or efficiency or something like that? Then I want you to think about solving a pain point creatively, right? Not just a pain point, because the most powerful innovations often solve a customer frustration in a novel way, right? So what annoys people in your industry and then fix that immediately. That's what makes a difference. Fix that differently than everyone else does. And then finally, think about your weird, but might be your wonder, right? Don't be afraid to let your unique personality or your unconventional ideas infuse your business. Authenticity is a powerful differentiator in a world of, let's face it, copycats, right? Now, if you're my corporate peeps, well, corporate insights is a little different, right? But we want to break that because I said so bottleneck, which really stifles creativity. So in the hallowed halls of those larger corporations, innovation can often be strangled, right? It can be strangled by bureaucracy, by fear of risk, or that dreaded, this is how we've always done it mantra, right? And it's usually delivered by someone whose last original idea was like 1998. So we had a marketing team that we worked with that was stuck in a rut, and their campaigns were stale, their engagement was dropping. Why? Because every new idea had to go through 6 layers of approval, and anything that hadn't been proven by like a competitor was shot down. So their culture was one of compliance, not creativity. So when the new VP came in and implemented what we came up with, which was What If Wednesdays, right? So for 1 hour every Wednesday, the team was encouraged to brainstorm around a specific challenge, and no idea was too crazy. Senior managers were told to listen and not critique, right? Don't critique. They just use simple techniques like reverse brainstorming. So how could we make this problem worse? And then flip it, right? Or random word association to spark new connections. And slowly a few really great, fresh, low-risk ideas emerged from these sessions, right? And then they trialed one, and it worked. And then this built confidence. So the key was creating that psychologically safe space for experimentation and really understanding that idea generation was important, right? And it went to immediate approval as opposed to 6 layers of approval. So that's the way that we can move our corporate speak through the challenges of innovation. So how do we spark that innovation that's in a stifling system like this corporate speak? Well, again, we challenge the assumptions relentlessly, right? We encourage your team to constantly ask why and what if. And if that question becomes normal, then it is answered quite often very, very quickly, instead of the answer being because we've always done it. If we start hearing that, that's your red flag. Make that idea generation a habit, not really a Hail Mary. So you don't want to wait for crisis to try to innovate. You want to build it into regular, structured opportunities for brainstorming and for creative problem solving. And I want you to really think about piloting small and learning fast. So you don't need to overhaul everything at once, right? Don't go into the office and go, we're going to change and we're going to be innovative. No, 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 no. Test small. Test small, innovative ideas on a limited scale. So I want you to get the data. I want you to learn and then move forward from there. This de-risks those bigger leaps, right? And don't ever think an idea doesn't work. Treat it as a learning opportunity if it didn't work, right? It's not a punishable offense. It's somebody trying to help the business move forward. So on the personal front, you really want to start cultivating your idea factory mindset, right? So whether you're running your own show or you're trying to make waves in that larger corporate organization, your personal ability to think creativity and to generate innovative solutions is really a massive, massive asset. And this isn't some innate talent. It's a mindset and a set of skills that you can cultivate, okay? So here's how to stop being an idea consumer and becoming an idea generator. I want you to really feed your brain diverse inputs. Creativity is often about connecting seemingly unrelated ideas, right? So read widely outside your industry. Listen to different types of music. Talk to people with different backgrounds. Visit new places. The more varied your inputs, the richer your idea soup, right? For really great chefs and great cooks, they know they use all different sorts of ingredients to create something unique, right? And that's what you're doing. You're getting creative inputs from everywhere in order to do something unique. And I want you to embrace that productive discomfort, right? So step outside of your comfort zone. Try new things, even if you're not good at them. Learning a new skill, tackling an unfamiliar challenge. These activities build those new neural pathways, and they make your brain more flexible. So, go walk a different way, enjoy the scenery, learn to play guitar, learn to swim, read different aspects that you've never read before, watch documentaries, learn to be a little bit uncomfortable and outside of your comfort zone, because that will make things different, right? And then capture everything. Think about it as kind of like your idea parking lot, right? Ideas are slippery. So keep a notebook, a voice recorder app, a dedicated digital file to capture any thought, question, observation that really piques your interest, no matter how random. What I like to do is I use either the Chat GPT or the Gemini app on my phone. And when I'm driving and I come up with ideas, I just click the voice record and I say, hey, I'm thinking about this. What do you think? And that just actually, not only does it record it so that it's there and I know that my idea is somewhere where I can look back to, but it will give you more prompts and more ideas about what you're thinking of. And then I want you to, lastly, reframe your failure as data, right? Because not every idea will be a winner, and that's okay. Thomas Edison said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Each is a non-starter. Each non-starter provides information that can lead to a better idea. So here's a little tool that's called the assumption reversal technique, and it's something that I use. So when I'm stuck on a program, I list all my core assumptions about it, right? So for each assumption, you can ask, what if the opposite were true? And then this can shatter those mental blocks, and it can open up completely new avenues of thought. How does this work? So for example, you might think customers want more features. So the opposite is customers want fewer, simpler features. That's interesting, right? Now all of a sudden you look at it a little differently. Do they really want more features, or do they want simpler choices? And that starts creating a pathway for you to look at things a little differently. So again, fueling your body whenever you want to think about creativity. I want you to do some breathing. I want you to step back, have a lovely green tea, which has in it ingredients that help you focus and calm. You can add a slice of ginger, which is great for circulation. What does that mean? It means zing, you've got lots of new opportunities and new thoughts coming into your brain. Lemon, every morning I use lemon in my tea because it gives me just a boost of brightness, right? And you can even you can do like a little bit of honey, right? And just sip it and let the ideas flow. It's not magic, but think about something that nourishes your body more than another stale cup of coffee, right? I'm not saying coffee's not good, because it is. I love coffee, but I also like to make sure that I'm fueling my body with ingredients that really help. George Bernard Shaw said, the reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. Now, I'm not just saying go be a complete pain in somebody's backside, but maybe, just maybe, a little unreasonable questioning of the status quo, a little, that's boring, let's try something else. That's exactly what your business needs, your career needs, and frankly, what the world needs right now. So otherwise, we're just really just doing the same old thing that we've always done, right? So innovators, it's time to stop really thinking about it and start doing something differently. So your mission this week is, if you're tired of being boring, I want you to identify one boring spot. Pinpoint one area in your business or in your work this week that feels stale or meh. And it could be a process, a communication, or a product feature, right? And then apply that assumption reversal. So take that boring spot and list 3 assumptions about it and then flip them. What new ideas will emerge? Okay. And number 3 is schedule an idea input hour. Block 60 minutes this week to really consume something completely outside of your usual professional diet, right? A different industry, a different podcast, a museum visit, an article on quantum physics, whatever, but something that you don't normally do. And then I want you to capture one wild idea. Allow yourself to have one completely out there idea that's related to your work, and I want you to write it down without judgment. You don't have to act on it, at least not yet, but I want you to write it down, okay? And then I want you to think about everything you've done, and I want you to share any ideas, thoughts, the reason why you're shaking things up. Share them on this podcast, share them in your community group, but share these ideas that you come up with to yourself, to your journal, to make sure that you're always thinking about what else is out there? What can I do to make it a little more interesting, okay? So that's your homework for this week. Remember, the world has enough echoes. Be a voice, be an innovator, be different. I'm Faye Chappell. Thanks for sparking with me this week, and I can't wait to see you again next week.
Well, you've just had your Sunday Spark. How's that for a power-packed start to the week? If you're ready for more tips, laughs, and let's get real moments, be sure to subscribe and share this podcast with all of your friends and your crew. Got questions, insights, or just want to say hey? Well, head over to my website, fayechappell.com, or any of the social media feeds, and I will be with you there. Until next time, keep that spark alive, and remember, your best life doesn't just happen, you have to create it.